paragraphs that have been attached in the reports. These are the conclusion as at the end of the report it has been mentioned by the probe committee which has been specifically constituted, and let me read out the points which have been made in conclusion. And as it states in the conspectus of the decision, analysis and the threadbare marshalling of the statements that have been made by the 55 witnesses, including the statement of Justice Verma, the committee has to now render the findings in regard to the clause 5 of the procedure that has been laid down for the conduction of the inquiry of the in-house committee constituted by Honorable Chief Justice of India, which reads following the clause 5 pointers, and I will read it out, saying that after the inquiry the committee may conclude and report to the CGI saying that there is no substance in the allegations contained in the complaint, and moving forward there is sufficient substance in the allegations contained in the complaint and the misconduct disclosed is so serious that it calls for the initiation of the proceedings of the removal of the judge. There is also substance in the allegations contained in the complaint, but the misconduct disclosed is not of such a serious nature as to call for initiation of the proceedings for removal of the judge, which also further mentions that the copy of report shall be furnished to the judge concerned by the committee. Now, let me move forward with the next point that also constitutes as a very important point in the conclusion, saying that before recording the conclusion, the committee deems it appropriate to ponder over the certain aspects which lie at the foundation of the constitution of the committee, that is to inquire into the acts of omission and commission of the judges of higher judiciary who fail to follow universally accepted values of judicial life. This is what has been also cited as a very important paragraph, viewers. Now, moving forward, the conclusion of the committee probe also cites that it has been more than 3 decades when the restatement of values of judicial life were adopted by the Supreme Court in its full court meeting on 7th of May in the year 1997, which for ready reference and convenience are stated below. These are the values of judicial life which have also been stated as you can see, mentioned that justice must not merely be done, but it must also be seen to be done. The behavior and the conduct of the members of the higher judiciary must reaffirm the people's faith in the impartiality of the judiciary. Accordingly, any act of the judge of the Supreme Court or that of the High Court, whether in official or the personal capacity, which erodes the credibility of this perception, has to be avoided. That is the first point of the restatement of the values of judicial life that has been here as attached, and moves forward with also laying it down with the second point, saying that a judge should not contest the election to the official of a club, society or any other association. Further, he shall not hold such elective office except in a society or association concerned with the law. Thirdly, the restatement of values of judicial ethical values concerns that the close association with the individual members of the bar, particularly those practiced in the same court, shall be eschewed, and while it also says and adds that a judge should not permit any member of the immediate family such as spouse, son, daughter, son-in-law or daughter-in-law or any other close relative of a member of the bar to appear before him or even be associated in any manner with the cause to be dealt with him. Further, the restatement mentions that no member of his family who is a member of the bar shall be permitted to use the residence in which the judge should actually resides or other facilities for professional work. Moving forward, it also says that a judge should practice a degree of aloofness consistent with the dignity of his office. It also mentions that judge shall not hear and decide a matter in which a member of his family or a close relation or a friend is concerned. A judge shall not enter into public debate or express his views in public on the political matters or on the matters that are pending or are likely to arise for judicial determination. The judge is expected to let his judgments speak for themselves. He shall not give interview to the media. Judge shall not accept gifts or hospitality except from his family, friends, close relations and friends. Judge shall not hear and decide a matter in which a company in which he holds share is concerned unless he has disclosed his interest and no objection to his hearing. and deciding the matter is raised. A judge shall also not speculate in the shares, stocks or the like. 13th point of the restatement of the judiciary value says that a judge should not engage directly or indirectly in trade or business either by himself or in the association with any other person, while the publication of a legal treatise or any activity in the nature of a hobby shall be construed as trade or business. The last, in fact, few of the last points that are being made here in the 14th point says that the judge should not ask for, accept contributions or otherwise actively associate himself with the raising of any fund or the purpose. A judge should not seek any financial benefit in the form of a prerequisite or privilege attached to his office unless it is clearly available. Any doubt in this behalf must be resolved and clarified through the Chief Justice. The last point makes this thing very apparent that every judge must at all times be conscious that he is under the public gaze and there should not be any act or omission by him which is unbecoming of the high office he occupies and the public esteem in which that the office is held. These are only the restatement of the values of judicial life and are not meant to be exhaustive but illustrative of what is expected of a judge. All right, as you can see, this is also another big paragraph of the last page of the report that is the probe report of Justice Yashwant Verma, saying that the aforesaid enumerated values of judicial life, it is obvious that all the virtues expected from a judge are founded upon the concept of probity. Probity qua a judge is measured by the yardstick which is much more stringent than the probity expected of a civil post holder. The element of probity becomes predominant, relevant and indispensable when the offices of the higher judiciary are in question. The expectation of the general public from a member of the superior judiciary is extremely high. Probity is the most important and indispensable attribute of a person holding judicial office and is rather the basic eligibility criteria. It also states that least that is expected of any judicial officer of district or the higher judiciary is unimpeachable character and conduct in and outside of the courtroom. The very existence of judicial office is founded upon the trust of the citizens at large. The quality and the quantity of this trust is directly relatable to the behavior, conduct and performance demonstrated by the judge, not only inside but also outside the courtroom. Any deficiency in this regard erodes the public trust which ought to be viewed stringently. Now, moving further, we also have another important paragraph which I will also read it out and make in fact the last page of the report, which states that the committee holds the cash and the money which was found in the storeroom of 30 Tughlaq Crescent in the national capital officially occupied by Justice Verma. The more so, the access to the storeroom has been found to be within the covert or the active control of Justice Verma and his family members, and that by way of strong inferential evidence. It is established that the burnt cash and money was got removed from the storeroom during the wee hours of 15th of March from 30 Tughlaq Crescent. The last paragraph states that keeping in view the direct and electronic evidence on this record, the committee is firmly of the view that there is sufficient substance in the allegations raised in the letter of Honorable the Chief Justice of India dated 22nd March 2025 and the misconduct found proved is serious enough to call for the initiation of the proceedings for the removal of Justice Yashwant Verma, the Judge of Allahabad High Court. All right, now